got a boat. I got a boat. I've got a boat. Now we can electrify it. Prost. Cheers. Wherever you are, however you say it. Let's get back to work. Future Maddie here. I am really struggling to make the video that is about to follow this interesting. I don't think I can. So I want to put a little bit of a heads up, warning, whatever. This video is going to be showing the process I went through of trying to figure out how to do time shifting with the Victron Quattro. It's slow, it's tedious, it's pondering, but it's complete. And to harken back to the original purpose of this channel, which was to show what it is to take on a big project or to learn a new thing, I want to release this. I want people who are interested to see what it took to figure this out. The next video is going to be I don't want to call it an interview. Lance from Victron, who you met back in the Q&A video I did a while back. He very kindly offered to chat with me and allow me to record him on how to do what I'm trying to do. But it turned into a almost 3-hour-long conversation on Victron as a company, Victron as an approach to technology, their pros and their weaknesses. If you watch this video, you're going to hear me cussing and complaining a fair bit at Victron. The third video I will do will be a much more condensed, much more focused, here's how to set up time shifting with a Victron Quattro. If all you're interested in is how to do that and you found this video first, look in the description. As soon as I release that video, I will put a link to it. It will be a very much, here are the steps type video. So with that said, I hope you enjoy this video. If you don't, I don't hold it against you. Yeah. I will go into a lot more detail about the boat in a future video. I'm going to try to get back to the battery because it's been a hot minute since I've had a chance to work on it. I'm going to start looking at the battery and the Victron system less from a perspective of a boat and start to just get a feel for it with various other use cases in mind. The first one I want to do, which is the topic of today's video, and I have no clue how to do this yet, is I want to figure out how to set up my Quattro for time shifting. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but it's the term I'm going to use for it. Where I live in Ontario, Canada, we have time of day usage fees for our electricity. It basically doubles in price between, I think, 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So what I want to try to figure out is, can I configure this Victron equipment to discharge from the batteries between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. and then charge back up off of the grid after 7 p.m. It's obviously something I'm not going to need to worry about on the boat, but it is something I can see being appealing to a lot of people who might be watching this channel. And between now and when I get on the boat, it'll benefit me, especially because I bought another rather high battery load device, but more on that later. One of the other big changes in my life after being a ThinkPad user exclusively since the 46 days. Some of you are going to be old enough to know what I'm talking about, and or nerdy enough. I have, for the first time in my life, purchased an Apple product, principally to do video editing. However, it is going to come into play right now because if you recall in an older video when I was trying to configure the Quattro initially with I was trying to use the Victron configuration tool for Linux, I couldn't get it working. So the first thing I have to do is install it on my Apple. So software, Victron Connect, download for Mac from App Store. Open App Store. Always allow Apple. In case you're wondering just how new I am to OS X. Doopy doopy doop doop doop. Open. Okay. I think I want to talk to... Oh, so it sees the Cerbo GX on the Bluetooth, and it sees it on the Ethernet. Well, let's connect it with Bluetooth. Anytime you'd like. I see the Bluetooth light blinking here. I don't know if you can see that. The Bluetooth light is blinking. But it's not connecting yet. What am I doing wrong? Unable to connect. Try to connect again. Move closer to the product. I don't think I can move closer to the product. Restart your phone. This isn't a phone. What? Now it has 2 entries here. But why though? Ah, so this is how this is going to go. Gotcha. Why are you not connecting? This is an Apple. Apple is supposed to be easy. It's not easy so far. I turned off Bluetooth and it hasn't noticed yet. Okay, let's just kill the program. Yeah, let's just do that. Start over. The Digital Mermaid, which is what I called the Cerbo GX, is not even an option right now. It's grayed out. I'm not seeing any of the Bluetooth devices. I thought the Apple was supposed to be easier to use. Broken on Mac OS Monterey. What's my Mac? About this Mac. I don't know the names of Macs yet. Oh, look at that! I'm on Monterey. Has been broken on Monterey. Now back to normal. Had been broken. I don't get it. Victron, why are you not working? Oh, now it's seeing things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Connect. Why is this so tricky? This shouldn't be so hard. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Zeros. I had to get a new phone. Do I not have Victron installed on the phone? I cannot log into Victron either. What the hell is going on here? I can't even... Come on, Victron. You're better than this. Can I log into VRM? What do you mean invalid credentials? I've reset the password twice now. I seem to be stuck in a loop. I might have had Google Auth set up. My other phone died on me. I can't boot it anymore, so I can't use that Google Auth. I can't add Google Auth. I don't know what to do. When security is so strict that it screws you over instead of helping you. Can I even connect to the Cerbo GX from my fucking phone? Okay, I can connect through my phone. I can configure VRM online portal. No, you son of a authenticator app token. I can't log in. I don't know what to say. I can't do anything more tonight. I cannot log into VRM. Okay, that was a lot longer than I expected. I thought it was going to be the next day. It's been 2 weeks. I had to go to LA. The world happened. And yeah, so it took me a bit to get back to this. In the meantime, I found out that to do the time shifting, I need to use the VE configure tool, and that is only available on Windows. If I recall from before, remember we configured this to set the load. I believe I had to use a USB drive, or a USB thing. I borrowed my daughter's computer at the time, which I don't want to do now. So I have this thing here. It's a Silex, what do they call it? SX3000 GB. So one of the things I really like about this is that in my day job, I deal with a lot of virtual machines, and some of the customers I work with, they have these USB, they're called hasp keys. They're used to make sure you didn't pirate commercial software. The problem is that there's no USB ports on a virtual machine that can move between hosts. And I was experimenting with a few different USB over Ethernet adapters, and none of them really worked really well until I found this one. And I found out the magic term, and the reason I'm bringing it up here in case it helps one of you down the road, is that this does true USB encapsulation. Where the other ones, which are meant for sharing a USB drive or a printer, they tend to run the software. They don't actually directly emulate USB. This one does. As far as the virtual machine is concerned, it's a physical USB port on the motherboard, and it works brilliantly for everything. I mention this also because if you try to do what I'm doing and use a USB over Ethernet adapter to configure the VE bus, I'm not entirely sure how safe that is if the USB adapter is playing some tricks. Price-wise, this was about $150 Canadian, where a lot of the USB over Ethernet, like print shares, whatever, are like 50 bucks. So they're a little bit more expensive, but these things, I trust them that data is not being manipulated in any way between the USB port and the virtual machine. Let's get back to now trying to figure out how to configure time shifting. 1 second, please. That was it. I call it time shifting. A friend of mine who works in energy and solar calls it in Australia, what was it? Load shifting. So you might be referring to this by different names. I'll use time shift from here on in. I kind of came up with that, so I could be completely wrong. Anyway, you know what we're trying to do here. Let's go back to trying to figure out how to make it work. BMS connections. I have completely forgotten how to do this. By the way, I'm not going to do a screen recording. Other channels are a lot better at doing like a step-by-step tutorial. I'll tell you as I figure it out. I'll show you the screen as best as I can, but I don't really want to be a tutorial channel. Off-Grid Garage and Lithium Solar and Will Prowse, they do a much better job of that. This is a learn with me type channel, so yeah, anyways. Something else very terribly annoying that happened after I ended the last clip 2 weeks ago. I couldn't log into VRM because I had set up two-factor authentication. Word of warning for you guys who are using VRM. My phone died, just wouldn't boot at all. And I couldn't migrate the Google Auth to my new phone. So when I try to log into VRM and it asks me for my Google Auth code, I can't get it. I emailed Victron and I said, hey, can you help me with this, please? And they said, well, we can create a second account and add it to the account. And I'm like, well, can't you just reset the two-factor authentication or disable it temporarily? And they said, no, they can't. So my main email address I use for all this stuff that's bound to my VRM account, I can't use it anymore. Apparently, according to Victron, it is unrecoverable. Yay! So, Andy was talking about this in his most recent video where he was saying you can download the configuration from the Quattro, in his case the Multiplus, right to the desktop and then modify it and then upload it again. If that's the case, I may not need that USB encapsulator. So that's going to be the first thing I try to do. Device list, VE bus system, remote VE configure. Maybe that'll do it. Querying configurable devices. Haha! All right, so what Andy was saying is correct. You just download it. It gives you a funny file name. Slava Ukraine. I'm sure I butchered that pronunciation, but read assist, initiating download. All right. I think this is in the download directory. I'm not very familiar with Windows. So double click. Please select a COM port. There are updates available. Oh, did it find it? Ah, Quattro. Okay, so probably because it wasn't talking to it, it just downloaded the file. So I believe what this does is we're going to make our changes, save it, and then we'll upload the file. And then it'll go through the internet to the Cerbo GX and that'll load it to the Quattro. I was speaking to one of the Victron folks. Hi, Lance. So what I'm trying to do, Victron calls conditional AC input. So in my province, the tariffs are most expensive between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So I want to configure this to charge after 7 p.m. and stopping at 7 a.m. unless the battery pack drops to, say, 10%, in which case go ahead and charge. This is where we set the AC inputs to 15 amps. Charger, battery type, lithium iron phosphate. Ignore AC input. Do not ignore AC input when load higher than battery condition. Why are some of these things grayed out? On the virtual switch usage page? What's the virtual? Oh. Specify virtual switch usage. Do not use VS. Drive multifunctional relay. Ignore AC input. VS on, ignore VS off. Do not ignore. Dedicated, ignore AC input. Dedicated generator. Oh, this is for conditional on the triggering like external generators and stuff. Okay. You know what? Now that I know what the term is called, let me see if they just have a... Oh, is it in the Victron Connect app? Okay, that's not helping. How do I get into the Quattro config? Oh, let's do settings then. Can you tell I have no idea what I'm doing? Okay, so it wouldn't let me click that on my phone, but it would on the actual Cerbo GX screen. So let's switch over to the Cerbo GX screen. What did Mr. Lance tell me? You can also do some of this now with the conditional AC input in the Victron Connect app. Off. Oh, that's the main switch. Okay, never mind. Oh, you can change the input current now. You don't have to go through it the way we did before. Oh, that's nice. My AC input is currently unplugged because I've been running off solar. Nope, don't want those. What? I hit the back arrow. What the hell did I just do? Ah! If you have a back arrow here and a function here, don't make the whole bar clickable. Shit, I might have to wait now. Well, let's keep looking. Do I have to do local instead of USB? When in doubt, RTFM. 10.5.2, conditional AC input. AC input control. Oh, it wants an OTG. Okay, well, I bought one of these cables. So what they're talking about is one of these little doohickeys. It's not just a USB-C to USB-A adapter. It actually allows you to plug in the charge port on Android phones. And now this will act like a USB port on the phone. So now when I plug, wait, how does this work? Oh, now it's got to go through the Mark III. Ah, there's the Mark III. I'm going to try using my phone. I tried Linux, it didn't work. I tried Microsoft, it worked back in the day. I tried I tried Mac, no bueno. Tried Microsoft in a VM. Victron's hardware is so good. Their software. Okay, let's back to it. This is the number cable I'm using to plug into the VE bus. So I'm going to plug that into the interface Mark III cable doohickey majiggy. I'll be right back. I want to be able to sit this, but I have to drill a hole in this. I drilled a hole. Exciting, I know. Look at that cute little family of displays. So the manual is saying to use the Victron Connect app on the phone with an OTG cable plugged in to the MK3 USB, which we will now plug in. And now we have the Quattro plugged into my cell phone. Haha! Retrieving data! I'm sorry, that makes me happy. I'm using my cell phone to talk on a VE bus device. Okay. You're not seeing my stupid facial expressions. That's not a bad thing. Haha! Alrighty, this is a whole new screen. Okay, so now that's set to 15. Oh my god, this is so much easier. Why didn't I do this before? And I don't need Windows. Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay. Oh, fetching settings. There we go. And look at that, it is still settings disabled. Features provided in this menu are powerful tools extended for use by Victron-trained engineers, installers, and dealers. Its usage must not be attempted by system owners and users. Enable settings. Still fetching settings. It's taking a terribly long time to fetch settings. I'm not quite sure why this is taking so long. I have a feeling this isn't working. When in doubt, restart. VE bus device can't connect, click for details. List of possible reasons. Make sure that the front rocker switch is on. It is. Communication cable, old microprocessor unit, force detection. I have not done a firmware update. Whoa! It just rebooted. Quattro found. Press to update. Oh, it wants to do a firmware update. Current version is 4.3.0. New version is 4.9.4. And now we don't touch a damn thing. It's very worth noting, if you're ever doing a firmware update, and it's a device that is powered by your battery system, be very mindful of the fact that you might lose power during the firmware update. So if you're doing it using a laptop, make sure that the laptop has a good battery and it's charged. If If you're doing it through a phone, make sure your phone has a good charge. I'm 97%, so I'm okay. You do not want to interrupt a firmware update unless you like really expensive, pretty bricks. Okay, it's been updated. Aha, now it's finding it. Okay. Now let's try this again. Fetching settings, this is where it hung last time. Let's see if it actually goes the rest of the way this time. Okay, that's better. Enable settings. Okay, we're finally back to where the manual was. You wanna come and see what we're doing? Say hi, YouTube. Hmm? Hmm? What are you doing? Kitty interlude. Whoa! Whoa, do. Okay, look at that. The input current after the firmware update got reset to 60 amps. That would have popped my breaker. That is something, I guess that's why it's behind a password, so they can say, well, you should have known that. You went to Victron training. Okay, I made the change. How does the change take effect? Did I have to turn off overrule by remote in order to do this? You know, I did this. I even made a video about this. Do I remember? No, I don't. Why is that? But none of the settings are actually being changed. Okay, I'm going to give up on the phone app for now because nothing I changed seems to be saved. And I'm going to run this into the USB over Ethernet adapter. Okay, let's go back to the VE Connect. Device is ready. Okay, so now what I did is I'm doing port selection, COM port, auto detection, not for MK1. That's okay, we're MK3. Connect cable and switch on device. It already is. Please select a COM port. Okay, maybe I have to go into Device Manager. Okay, it came up as COM port 1. The way I did that, by the way, was I went into Device Manager, I looked for ports, and there's Communication port 1. I'm assuming that's it? Well, we're going to find out here in a second. Cannot open COM1. Oh, did I not connect to it in the... Oh my god, this is so complicated. Sees it there. So it's connected as if it's a local USB device. Okay, now that it detected it, let me unplug it and plug it back in. Okay, so one of the USB devices disappeared. Something here should show up. USB serial converter. Okay. So it definitely sees the MK3. So why is this thing not finding it? Let's restart it. Scan for COM ports. Are you serious? Why is this so damn hard? Am I that stupid? I know this is working because it was seeing it on the phone. I have no clue. I have no clue. This is hostilely hard to use. I'm not this stupid, and I am struggling here. I mean, it sees it in Device Master. It's right here. This is the device. Do I have to install software for the MK3? Yes, there's VE. You have to install drivers. It's an FTDI chip. My normal USB to Ethernet or USB adapter is an FTDI. Now let's see if something shows up here. Well, the drivers are installed, but I'm not seeing a new COM port.
In VE Configure, go to Port Selection, COM port, and select Auto Detect. You will now see Target Found.
Yeah, you'll see Target Found. Okay, I'm going to reboot. Okay. USB serial converter comes and goes. It sees the MK3. This comes up as FTDI. USB serial converter. So this is the MK3. Oh, it even says right there, location, MK3 USB interface. It's here. It's just not seeing it. I have no idea what to do. Victron, I love your hardware, but holy All right, you know what? I think my laptop has USB pass-through. Let's see if I can plug it in using USB pass-through. Okay, desperate times call for desperate things. I have a Windows partition on this laptop. I'm going to switch to it. Actually, here's a question, and I know you're not going to see this very well, but if I do an ls-leh on dev tty star out to a file called 1, I'm going to do journal control -follow -n0. I'm going to plug the MK3 into Linux. They just come up as a simple USB device. Now if I do this to ls-leh out to 2, and I diff 1 and 2, oh, shillings. Oh, yeah, there it is. So if I do screen to dev tty USB 0, I don't have my speeds right. Is it 11.5.200? It's probably expecting commands, but yes, I can talk to it under Linux. Well, anyway, that's not what I was here for. Reboot. Now, I boot into Windows so rarely, can I remember how? F12, temporary boot device. Oh shit, which one is my Fedora? Windows Boot Manager. I'm doing this preemptively because I suspect if I called Victron, the first thing they would hear is that I'm running in a virtual machine and say, that's not supported. And the controllers. Okay, let's plug this in and see what happens. Other device, MK3 USB. Okay, we didn't see that before. Windows could not find a driver. All right, let's go back here. MK3 drivers, FTDI installer. Gosh, I don't think you can see a thing I'm doing here. How much of this is going to be completely unusable footage? Holy shit, praise whatever God you believe in. Okay, so even true USB encapsulation wasn't working. Lovely. Oh my God. Okay, let's see if we can set this up now, because this got set to a dangerous value when the firmware updated. Modify battery capacity. 250 amp hours. Of note, it seems like 65.33 kiloamp hours is the most that a Quattro can support. Grid. We are not feeding power into the grid. Holy shit. Don't do that. It is extremely dangerous unless you've got something to protect it. Otherwise, you could energize the lines. Power goes out, and some poor bastard is up on the line trying to fix things and gets a shock because you're energizing the lines. This was lost as well. Okay, so we need to change this to lithium iron phosphate. Okay, let's send these changes now. Okay, so it's not yellow anymore, meaning it's been set to that. And I should be able to confirm that here. Oh no, I can't. It won't see it because I've disconnected it. I'll check it later. Do not use virtual switch. Okay, send settings. How the hell am I going to make this an interesting video? So it looks like I might have to use the app for this. It's all in the assistants. So somebody asked the question, nobody answered. They responded with, it's okay, it's all in the assistants. So I must be able to do it here somewhere. They didn't say how they did it, but at least we know it's in the assistants. Well, let's try ESS and see what that is. How do I start assistant? There's a lot of things we can do with this program that we're going to deal with later. Country grid code not selected. Okay, I don't think that's right then, because I don't need to feed back to the grid. I do not want to feed back to the grid. It would be highly irresponsible to feed back to the grid. So I'm going to delete that one. That is probably not it. Let's go back to the intertubes. Okay, so the only docs seem to speak to this. Now that I've got the amperage set, let's try going back to the OTG on the app because I'm running out of ideas. Oh, it's showing the accurate battery load or battery thing now. Maybe something's gotten fixed. Fetching data. Okay, these are 15 amps now. That was the key thing. That's all right. Back here. AC input control. Conditional AC input connection. Ah, look at that. It actually gave it, it was like gray for a second and then gave a checkbox. It seems to finally be talking to the Quattro properly. Holy shit, that was annoying. AC input connection based on load. No, I don't want load. Connection when state of charge drops below 10%. Great, and checked. Okay, now can I do time of day? On battery voltage, absorb, no, I want to do time of, what? I didn't, what? When absorption finished. How do I do time of day? Can I do time of day or do I have to use node red? So we set the state of charge to 10%, but that's assuming the state of charge is read properly. I'm not entirely convinced that it will. So setting the battery voltage to say, so if we set it to 44, there you go. So if the battery hits 45 volts, it'll turn on the AC input. If the state of charge drops below 10%, it'll turn on. Delay before connection, no, go ahead and connect right away. I don't need a delay. Okay, so that is my conditional input on state of charge and battery voltage. Sweet. How do I set time of day? Charger. Remember I misclicked that thing? I wonder if that's why I couldn't configure anything. I don't see time of day. Okay. Let's go back to the intertubes. I don't know how I'm going to make this interesting. All right, so ESS menu. So I do have to put my country code in. Okay, so let's look at ESS then. Now that helper that I added in the configure app, can I do that through here? Probably not, which means I probably have to go back to Victron configure. So let's close this. Well, actually, no, it's not. General. Grid. Country grid code. The setting is not supported in Victron Connect yet. Use VE configure. Oh my god. Okay, let's go back to Victron Connect. The key thing here is to never let it feed back to the grid, which ESS can do for selling your solar collection. So I just have to make sure as I do this. My Quattro is unplugged right now, so even if I mix something up, it will not energize the grid. Is it not finding it this time? Oh, for fuck's sakes. 3, 4, 5, 6. Which one goes away when I unplug it? 6 goes away. I don't think this is a problem with the MK3. I think this is a problem with the Quattro just not talking. Yeah, it picked it up that time. Grid. Country code. Europe, France, Italy, New Zealand, Northern Ireland, UK. Do they not... Ah! I was trying to scroll down. Do you not do North America at all? Quattro, Canada, grid code. I use ESS but have disabled feedback. Is grid code still required? Yes. Okay, so I just need to figure out how to choose. I saw South Africa in the example and I don't see it here. So I selected the multi-Quattro will not comply to any standards. Installation of external certified equipment might be mandatory to connect the multi-Quattro to the grid. Ah, okay, so LOM, what it does is when the power is lost, when it detects that there's no energy left on the grid, it opens up the relay to prevent the power going out back to the grid, which is exactly what we want. Loss of mains detection, type B, safe. Okay, so coming back here, I saw something about type B. Type B is preferred since it's suitable for a wide range of grids. For this model grid code combination, the Type B has not been certified yet and is therefore not officially compliant with the grid code. So I can test this by powering the Quattro off of a standard UPS, unplugging the UPS from the wall, turning off the UPS and verifying that there's no power going back. I can put a voltmeter on the lines, kill the UPS, and verify the lines go dark as well. That's how I'll test the LOM is working properly. Oh, and this now gives me my UPS function. This is something I very much want to play with. AC low connect, AC high disconnect. Ah, this is in the APC UPS world, this is what they call the low transfer and the high transfer voltages. We'll talk about setting this up as a UPS in another video. For now, this is about time shifting. Send settings. Now let's go back to the assistant. Do not use virtual switch. Assistants, add assistant, ESS. Start assistant. Aha! We're starting to get some more stuff now. Okay, battery system. Cutoff voltage for discharge current of... Oh, dynamic cutoff. Okay, so when does it cut off voltage for a discharge current? What? So if I'm pulling 2C, why would I want to cut these voltages off? I have a feeling this is for Victron batteries. That's an extremely... I mean, 51.2 is the nominal... Okay, another question for Lance. Dynamic cutoff. All right, I am going to set this down to... I'm going to ask Victron about this curve, because it seems exceedingly high for me. And it also seems inverted. If I've got a super high load, it's going to draw the voltage down faster. Yeah, this is not a light lithium iron phosphate profile. I'm going to say 41 volts, 41.5 volts, 40.5. Just a little head above the JKBMS. I'm going to set that to 41 even. I'm setting this to a very flat curve on purpose. And I will set that to 41.5. Okay, restart offset. When inverting is stopped due to low battery... Oh, that's cutting off the inverter, not cutting off the charger. Ah, I see. Okay, that makes more sense, but I'm still going to stick with my low numbers. Inverting is allowed, again, when the voltage rises 1.2 volts above cutoff. Okay, I'm happy with that. So that means if it hits, say, 41 volts, and that's my inverter cutoff, the inverter cuts off at 41, and it won't kick back on until 42.2. Fine by me. Okay, so that's the ESS set up. Let's send the settings. Now, I still need to figure out how to do time of day. Okay, I went into ESS. I never saw anything about time of day charging. Maybe I have to go back to the phone now for time of day. All right, back to the phone. It's starting to feel like some features are available in certain apps and you just have to use all of them. Okay, let's go to the Quattro. The voltage is off now. Oh, there it goes, it's back up. 15 on, okay, so let's go back, fetching, wait for it to fetch all the settings. AC input control. I still don't see time of day here. Oh my God. Oh, it looks like it's configured in the Cerbo GX. Okay, well, let's close out of this and switch over to the Cerbo GX then. All right. Scheduled charging. Grid tab. Okay, I need to find the grid tab. ESS relay test, redetected. Oh, this has changed. I wonder if that's because I put the country code in. Ah, ESS, there it is. Mode, optimized with battery life. We'll worry about that stuff later. Scheduled charging! Schedule 1, enabled. Weekdays. Start time, 1900. Duration, 12 hours. Actually, let's set this, let's give ourselves a little bit of a buffer. We're going to set that to 17:15, and we're going to set this to 11 hours 30. Stop on state of charge, nope. And we want to charge on weekends, because weekends in Ontario, in my place, is low tariff the whole time. Weekends, okay. Start and end. Oh, start at, okay, so Friday, 24 hours is going to go until 11 and a half hours, so that's going to go until 6:45. So we'll set it for 6:07. Okay, listen, if you're going to hide the 0, 6:45, duration 24 hours. Okay, 23:50. Okay, see this? See this, Victron? Oh, wait, there you go. I'm an idiot. 23:59. There we go. So on weekends, it should start charging at 6:45 in the morning, which is what I'll get from the previous Friday. So Saturday morning will go from 6:45 to 6:44, and then Sunday will go 6:45 to 6:44, and then Monday will start. Okay, Monday will start at the next weekday, which is 7:15. Oh my God, guys, I think we have it. Grid feed in, never. No, 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 no. Do AC coupled photovoltaic feed in excess? No. Feed nothing into excess. How do I completely disconnect? Okay, another question for Lance. How to completely disconnect grid feed? I think we're done. By the time you're watching this, I'll have already talked to Victron, but whoa, this was a lot harder than it should have been. I am extremely fortunate that I have access to Victron folks, so I can ask them questions and give them feedback. I wanted to try to get through this myself to figure out what it took to make it work, because if I didn't have this YouTube channel, if I didn't have you viewers, I wouldn't have access to the Victron people. And the whole purpose of this channel is to help show what it is to figure things out for your own. So most of you aren't going to have access to Victron people. This is what it took to get it working. I find this slightly unreasonable. It was unreasonably difficult. The idea that I had to jump between VE configure, which only works on a Windows machine that's actually running on bare iron, what the hell there, and I had to use the phone, I had to use the VE configure app, and I had to use the Victron or the Cerbo GX to do this. I'm going to ask tomorrow if there was an easier way to do this. Whew. Yeah, I'm going to keep working on this stuff as best as I can, but this isn't my day job. I have a daughter, I have a house to renovate. I'm going to keep doing my best. I really am, but please bear with me if things are a little bit scattered. That's why I've never said there is a release schedule for these videos and for this channel. My goal is once a week. Sometimes I'll be better at that than other times.